Evolutionary podcast coming your way. Episode 457 Q&A. Stevesmi and the Rickster Ricky V. What's up, buddy? How you doing?
Hey, what's up, Steve? What's up, Gas? How's everybody doing out there?
So in this one, we have a Q&A episode. We have 5 great topics. So let's get to the first one. First question came in: what is the most useful machine in the gym? So for me, I thought about this one a little bit today, and I was kind of thinking about it. And I think the most useful actual machine here, I'm assuming this means you can't say, a free weight or something. I think the hammer machines, because I'm going to tell you why. The hammer machines are really good because you can kind of do variations of your lifts. You can do high reps, you can do heavy, you can do drop sets. You can do a lot of different things with hammer strength. And I have a lot of respect for hammer strength because my first gym I ever went to, I was like 15 years old, and we didn't have much free weights. It was one of those crappy gyms, but that was really the only gym in my town at the time. So, and obviously being a teenager, any legit meathead gym, they're not going to allow teenagers in there. You got to be at least 18 or older. I mean, I sure as hell going to a meathead gym as an adult don't want teenagers running around my gym. So that was actually what got me started in weight training, in a gym environment, was the hammer. And that actually got me stronger. And once I started lifting in my high school gym, I was automatically stronger than a guy who was, never lifted before. Because of that, I credit it to the hammer, the chest, hammer strength chest, and then you have the other types of hammer machines. So another one too is leg extensions. I like leg extension machine. I like it because you can really hammer the legs, especially on leg day. Let's say you just did squats. I like to go heavy on my squats, do some high rep squats, and then I can go and do kind of drop sets on the leg extension, really get a nice burn going and really wear out the leg muscle. So those are my favorite. This is not necessarily my favorite, but to answer this question, these are the most useful machines, I think, that you could have in the gym. How about you, Rick?
I'm going to take a little bit of a different angle on this question. I'm going to rephrase it a little bit to the machine that you should go to the gym for, meaning something you can't recreate at home with free weights, something you can't just do in the basement unless you have this machine. And to me, it's always going to be the cable machines, the pulley machines, the cable crossovers, the lat pull down machines, the cable row machines. These machines allow you to kind of change where gravity would come from, right? It changes angles, and you can really get a workout and then work angles and muscles and isolate that you couldn't really do any other way. It's also real simple to do an exercise with the pulley, like you're doing cable crossovers, and then quickly drop the weight a little bit, come in, change the pins, do less or more weight, depending on what you're trying to do. It's very, very, very convenient. It's the one machine that I end up thinking like, okay, I want to get this exercise in. I want to do that exercise. Oh, it has to be done at the gym. I can't do it with my weights at home. Can't do it with my regular grind. I've got to, those pulleys, man, those darn pulleys where you can make the resistance be high or low or middle. And especially if you're training for sports specific training, those pulleys are really the best. You can recreate some of the same tension using rubber bands, but I prefer the tension, the full range kind of tension that I get from a pulley way more than I do from the kind of a change in tension that I get from a band or any kind of rubber bands when doing, work on shoulders or anything like that. So definitely pulleys, crossover cables, top cables, all those machines are at.
All right, so the next topic is going to be what motivates you to get up in the morning? What makes you jump in the morning? I think it's because I mentioned this on prior podcasts. I'm the type of person that doesn't have an alarm clock. I don't believe in alarm clocks. I wake up every day somewhere between 4 a.m., 5 a.m., sometimes 6. At the latest, I'll wake up maybe 6:15, 6:20 a.m. All right, that's the latest I'll ever wake up. And as soon as I get up, I jump out of bed. And what gets me motivated is, that people need me out there. People need me. On the forums, people need me to do these podcasts. I write these podcasts. Rick is sort of the director, and then we have, of course, producers that allow us to do these podcasts. But I'm pretty much, the writer, especially on these Q&As. And, I have to come up with these topics, and I have to basically listen to you guys who message me these questions. And these questions come in, and I have to kind of look at the questions, and I have to decide, which ones are we going to talk about. And of course, I cross-reference them with Rick, and we make a decision on what we're going to discuss on the podcast. But, you guys need me on the forums. I will on the forums to help you guys out. I like what I do. There's never a perfect situation. Sometimes, we work in environments that are toxic. We hear about this a lot, toxic workplace and stuff like that. And I know exactly what that's all about because I've always worked in jobs that was majority men. And when you work in jobs that are majority men, you got to deal with a lot of insecurities. You got to deal with a lot of guys that are, different personalities. You got to deal with jealousy. That's a big one. Okay. Especially with young males. Jealousy is a big, big one. I've always had to deal with that because I've always excelled at what I did in life. So when that happens, and if let's say someone who's been at a company longer than you, they're older than you, they have more education than you, anything, they feel like, why is this person doing better than me? Why is this person making more money than me? Why are they more ahead of me? And it builds up a lot of jealousy. So when you work in those types of work environments, it can be really, really tough. So I get it. I get a lot of people out there work in those shitty ass environments. But, I'm lucky that, I don't have to work in those types of environments because, I do a lot of my work from home. So I don't have to go to an office and deal with, that type of thing. So one of the things that I always tell guys is you should wake up loving what you do for a living. You should feel like you're contributing to the world and helping people and helping society better itself. And if you feel that way, then you'll jump up every morning to go and do your job, and, the weekends are something I appreciate. I still work on the weekends. You guys still see me on Saturdays and Sundays posting on the forums. You see me posting on the forums from at 5 a.m. You'll see me posting on the forums 10 p.m. You'll see me all over the place, all hours. And that's because, I spend a lot of time. I spend a lot of hours on this. I take my jobs very seriously, and I take helping you guys out very seriously. So that gives me the satisfaction knowing that I'm helping you guys and gals out there and better yourselves. So that's really at the end of the day, why I'm able to get motivated and jump out of bed. And that's, if you don't love what you do for a living, it's miserable. And I've been there. I didn't care for, I didn't really like school growing up too much. I liked college a lot more than I liked, middle school and high school and stuff like that. I just felt like, so I'd had a hard time getting up in the morning. I'd had to get up and I'd take 20, 30 minutes just to get out of bed. It was just a miserable way. And I always told myself, look, as an adult, I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to be in a situation where I hate, what I'm doing all day. And I feel like I'm wasting my fucking time. So once I got to college and I was around a better environment and the education was better and I was able to learn better things. And, obviously I enjoyed it. I enjoyed that environment because I was getting something out of it. So, I mean, if you're not getting what you need, from your job, from your spouse, from your education, whatever, then it's as good a time as any to change it, and get to the point where you do feel motivated, because you don't want to spend your whole life being miserable. So, and another thing, I just wrote an article about this, and you guys are going to see this article that's going to come out. And it has something to do, and I know, Rick, you're going to talk about this because you're into this, but nootropics. And there's a lot of nootropics out there. I know, Rick, you're big on caffeine and stuff, but I wrote an article about nootropics. I don't take any of these nootropics, but I do eat a lot of fruits, vegetables, and a lot of fruits and vegetables and vitamins are natural nootropics. Like coconut oil, for example, I consume a lot of coconut oil. It's a nootropic. There's things out there. There's certain vitamins, vitamin B's, vitamin D's. These are also nootropics. So I don't go after the nootropics that are like addictive and habit forming, like caffeine or nicotine, which is also a nootropic. I go after the more natural nootropics, and those I think keep my brain going. And those are if you keep a healthy diet, and you get in a lot of fruits and vegetables, and you get that coconut oil, which I always talk about on the podcast, that natural unrefined coconut oil, you're getting a lot of feed into your brain, and that will help you stay focused and stay alert with your mind. So that's another thing too that helps me, I believe. It's just my diet is so precise that gets me going too. Yeah. So how about you, Rick? Talk a little bit about your situation.
I try not to rely on motivation much, because I've come to realize that I guess maybe a little bit, the older you get, the more things you handle, the more things that could kind of beat you up a little bit. So I don't really worry or try to wait for motivation anymore at this point in my life. I just kind of just do it. I know I've got things to do, things that need to get done, and I just kind of do it. And I just expect that I'm on the right path. And if I just continue to do the things that I know I need to do, that things will be better, month after month, year after year, things will just continue to get better. But just, you're not always going to be motivated. I mean, out of 10 times that I'm getting ready to go to the gym, or I'm getting ready to go for a big bike ride or go to dojo, out of 10 times, I would say 7 of those times I'm going to sit in my bed or on my couch, looking at my sneakers for a few minutes before I put them on and say, fuck it. I've sat in my car at the gym, a parking lot, going like, my back's a little sore today. And I still get in there and do it. You're not always going to be motivated. You're not always going to be up for the game. You're not always going to feel great. Sometimes you just got to go and fucking do it. Sometimes you just got to go and do it. Doesn't matter if you're feeling your best that day. Doesn't matter what. You just get up, you go do it, and you do it the best you possibly can. And it becomes just kind of a habit then. You look at your schedule, you know what you need to do, what time you need to be up, what time you should be in bed by, everything you need to do in between, training, podcast, writing, phone calls, whatever it is. And you just get through it. You just do it. And if you always wait for motivation to come along, you're going to be unhappy some days. But if you just kind of get it in your head that the motivation itself is just getting it done, the motivation itself is just putting it on the scoreboard for the day, you just kind of you're more on autopilot. But yeah, I mean it's another perspective, and I've taken that more recently. Just don't worry or rely on motivation too much. Just try to get what you schedule, what you set out to do, what you put on your to-dos to do. Just get it done, and do it and be good at it, without no matter what. That's it.
All right. The next one we're going to talk about is, what is your opinion on dating people who go to the same gym as you? So I'm gonna let you have first crack at this one, Rick. You're our dating guru. What's your opinion on this one?
Doesn't matter. I mean, it doesn't make a difference at all. I've met girls at the gym. I've met girls who went to a different gym, and they'll come to mine as a guest. I'll go to theirs as a guest sometimes. It's really a no, never mind. Maybe some guys who have a lot of relationship issues and things going on, I can see it. But me, I mean, relationships and that part of life is such a small part, and such a small part of my daily focus that if she's there or not doesn't make a difference. If we break up or she goes out with somebody else right in front of me, I mean, I don't give a fuck. It just makes no difference. There are other things I worry about more. So maybe that's an answer for some of you guys out there. Is it a good thing or a bad thing? Dude, if you take your love life that fucking serious where you could ruin your gym experience, then, feel sad for you. But it shouldn't matter. If it's a hot girl and she's at your gym and you have a chance to date her, why the fuck not? Why not? And, it doesn't matter. It doesn't make a difference to me. Maybe I'm not thinking about it all. What do you think, Steve? Does it make a difference to you?
When we interviewed back in the old podcast, Trevor and I, we interviewed a dating guru, and I'm trying to remember the guy's name. Do you remember his name? Did you listen to that podcast? And
I can't recall.
Yeah, I know his name. David Wygant was his name, and he was a guy. He's a big guy on social media. He's got a lot of followers. He gives a lot of dating advice. He's been on Oprah and all that shit. And a lot of his stuff, that I read and stuff, he makes a lot of good points. I've actually used that in my dating, but there's some areas of what he talks about that hasn't worked personally. So, but for the most part, he gave really good advice on that podcast. I'd say like 80% of what he said has worked for me personally, and has given me like an edge over my peers, who have, been in the dating scene. So one of the things that, we asked them was about what happens if you meet someone in the gym and you really like her. How do you go in for the kill? And one of his advice on that was, don't go in for the kill quick. It's not a quick kill situation at the gym. He says you have to befriend her first. You've got to start talking to her, make small talk with her, gradually increase it, gradually get into, let's say, you just start talking to her. You get on a first name basis. Then from there, you can talk about things like your job, and she can talk about her job. Then you can kind of get to know each other, what you both do for a living. You can get to know what you both like to eat. You can get to know little things about each other. And, you can even ask them, hey, I saw you drive up in this, in that car, blah, blah, blah. How do you like it? My cousin's going to get a car like that, blah, blah, blah. So you can kind of like make conversation. And then over time, what will happen with women is women are smart. They're very, very smart. They're smarter than men when it comes to shit like this. They'll get the hint that, hey, this guy is into me. And they'll drop the good news or the bad news. And the good news is they'll drop something where they'll kind of hint at you. They'll be flirtatious with you. The bad news is they'll throw in, yeah, my husband, da, 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 my boyfriend, da, 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 da. And that gives you the hint of either they're taken or they want you to think they're taken. So that kind of is the direction he kind of led. And it makes a lot of sense in my mind, because in that situation, it doesn't become an uncomfortable situation where you're asking a girl out, she's turning you down because she has someone already or she's just not interested in you. And then you got to see this girl every time you go to the gym, and she's got to see you, and it's just an awkward situation. So I think that's a good approach to it. What he gave. So I'm going to go with that. I'm going to go with that answer. What do you think? What follow up on that?
Yeah, I mean, just take your time. You should take your time any damn way. Don't be let her set the pace for how it goes. As a guy, really, all you need to do is just kind of show interest. She already knows you want something to do with her just by the way you approach her. Women are used to that already. She's good looking. She's been getting hit on by the majority of men she comes across since she was a young lady. So she knows what's up. Just always let her set the pace. Go as fast as she wants it to go. And as far as like taking it slow with a gym hookup or a girl you meet at the gym, you should take it at her pace. If you met at the gym today and that evening you end up in her home, hanging out with her, that's, she's setting the pace for that. If you meet her and it takes you a year to get a first date, you let her set the pace. You show interest, you show availability, but you don't chase. That's the other thing. Like, don't chase a female around. You'll chase her right out of liking you if you do that. So don't chase and work it at her pace. Whatever she is comfortable with. At the end of the day, she's the girl. She's gotta set the pace for how things are gonna develop.
I'm not comfortable. Please don't invite me. I'm not comfortable.
That's funny.
You like that accent?
I don't even know what that was, dude.
All right. So the next one we're going to talk about, because you're talking about, make her comfortable. Something like, I'm not comfortable. Please don't invite me. I'm not comfortable.
It's
from a show.
Don't ever do that again. Just don't ever do that again. Come on, let's go. What's the next question? Don't ever do it again.
All right. The next one we're going to talk about is work. This ties into kind of that one, actually. So it's really clever. Is working out twice a day okay for a female, or is it too much? So the full question, let me bring up the full question. He's saying his wife has been working out twice a day to speed up her progress. Is there any disadvantages to this training style? She's doing 30 minutes twice a day, aerobic, anaerobic, Jane Fonda type stuff. So, blah, 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 blah. So on this one, I'm assuming she's trying to like lose weight because, people are under the impression if I just work out a lot, I'm just going to lose weight. I'm going to burn more calories and all that stuff. But they're doing it wrong in the kitchen. So if you're going and working out and just burning a ton of calories in the gym, and then you go to Chick-fil-A or you go to McDonald's or you go to Burger King or whatever, it's not going to work in your favor. You're just going to spin your wheels. So, and here's the things that I've explained before. I think I explained it on your podcast, Rick. I've explained it on a couple other podcasts. If you're a very lean female or you're a lean guy, whatever, and you do what I just said, where you go to the gym, you train your balls off, then you go eat fast food, you go eat crappy food, you eat pizza and beer and all this stuff and ice cream and all that stuff, right? You follow the IFYM thing and you stay lean. And you think that if other people who are trying to make progress follow what you do because it happens to work for you, that it's going to work for them, then you're a moron. That's the stupidest thing. That's the stupidest thing ever, because you're already lean. You're already lean. But if they're trying to get lean, why would that make any sense? Why would them spinning their wheels, it make any sense? At the end of the day, they're not gonna make any progress that way. So rather than focusing on, oh my God, I'm gonna work out twice a day, just do a good, clean 40 to 60-minute workout. All right. Get that in, and then eat a healthy diet. And then that will speed up your fat loss. Fasting works amazingly well for females, just as it does with men. It does not matter what your gender is. Doesn't matter if you're fat, skinny, doesn't matter. Fasting is something that's in our DNA, and fasting works. So if you're trying to lose weight, learn about fasting, learn about time restricted eating, all this good stuff. In terms of, improving your conditioning and improving your endurance, and he talks about aerobic. We know when it comes to this type of thing, that high intensity, where you're doing high intensity, then you slow down and you get the heart rate back down. Then you do high intensity, get the heart rate back up, then you slow down, back and forth. That type of interval training, we know that works. They use that type of interval training for those who run 800 meters, 1600 meters, 5Ks, 10Ks, whatever. You do these tempo runs and all this stuff. But this type of interval training can speed up this can get your speed up, and this can strengthen your heart very rapidly. We know that because every college in America that does track, that's what they teach their athletes. So we know what works when it comes to that. So if you're looking to strengthen your heart, look into that. One of the little nuggets that I can tell you is Bikram hot yoga. 90-minute Bikram hot yoga. Do that 3 times a week, and you will get into the best shape of your life doing that. Because it's one of those things where you're in a hot room, you're sweating your balls off. It's a lot of stress on your body in a short amount of time. But there's a method to the madness, because some of the poses speed up your heart rate like crazy. And then some of the poses, your heart rate comes back down. So it's interval training in a hot environment where you're sweating your balls off, tremendous amount of stress on your body. So that will get you in shape. Pyro Pilates, again, in a hot room. Oh my gosh. That will get you in great shape so quickly. So I would focus more, instead of twice a day workouts, I would focus more on more collateral damage workouts, where it's a shorter, it's a 60-minute or 90-minute class, but it's interval, where you're speeding your heart rate up and slow down, speeding it up, slow it down. And no, you can't go in and weight train for 45 minutes or 60 minutes and build a strong heart. You'll build a good heart by weight training. I always laugh at guys who just weight train. They don't do any cardio, and then they want to go run a 5K. And I've had friends like that in the past. Like, oh, Steve, I'm gonna go run the 5K with you Saturday. I'm like, all right, are you gonna train for it? Are you gonna, like, you might want to run a little bit before you go out and do the 5K? Like, no, I do weight training every day. My heart's in great shape. I'm like, okay. So then I go out there and we're running, and he's like, I'm gonna stay up with you. And then after like the 1 mile mark, I look back and he's walking. So I always laugh at that people actually think that weight training can strengthen your heart as much as actual cardio. That's just funny to me. It doesn't make any sense. At the end of the day, guys, it's all about, guys and gals, it's all about training your heart. It's about putting your conditioning on your heart. Okay. And that's how it goes. Like, you can't just weight train and have this amazing endurance from just weight training. You have to do cardio. You got to get the heart rate up. You got to stress out the body to make it improve when it comes to that. That's how our bodies work. That's why professional athletes have training camps where they get into shape for the regular season. They don't just go from the off season to the regular season and the next day. Like, let's just wing it. Let's just go to the regular season. Forget forget training camp, forget preseason. Let's just jump right to the regular season. It doesn't work like that. If it doesn't work like that with professional athletes, why is it going to work like that with you? So, yeah, I mean, I hope that makes sense. Rick, tell me your thoughts on this question.
Nice long answer you gave everyone, Steve. So, working out twice a day to speed up her progress. Are there any disadvantages to this training style? She's doing 30 minutes twice a day, aerobic, anaerobic, Jane Fonda type stuff. Okay, so all of those, she's trying to lose weight and training, doing cardio is great, is awesome, but that also has to come along the way with actual changes to her diet so that she can reach a caloric deficit. And that way she can actually lose body fat. If you do a lot of cardio, but you eat just as much, like some buddies I know from mountain biking, where they burn a ton of calories on their bikes, but then they go back and eat a ton of food later on and beer and other things. Well, you're still going to be overweight. You might have great cardio endurance as a big guy. There have been some heavyweight fighters that have incredible endurance, cardio endurance, but since they're in the heavier weights, they don't need to cut a ton of weight. They stay close to weight most of the time. They splurge on their food quite a bit, and they look soft, they look fat, but they have great cardio endurance. If she is just going to train and not change her diet around, weight training, at least one of those sessions, hard weight training, resistance, good weight training to failure, will give her more of a static changes. She'll get more muscle tone around her legs and buttocks and other areas from doing the weight training. And then she'll see some changes. This is it, providing she's not changing her diet. But ideally, she would change her diet, eat real clean, do 30 minutes of weight training, and do 30 minutes of cardio. If she can do 30 minutes of AM cardio in the morning, fasted state, put some your Hin Flame on her body, take some N2 Burn or some N2 Sling with it. And then in the afternoon, after she had her first meal, she would actually go in and train weights, take sets to failure, progressively add more weights, better, more complex exercises to some real good weight training. And she matched all that up with good, clean eating. She would look great pretty quickly. She would look great pretty quickly. But yeah, I mean, cardio twice a day. Only if you're on a steep caloric deficit are you really going to see some awesome changes. Otherwise, you could do cardio twice a day, never gain much in the way of muscle tone, never really lose much in the way of body fat because you've been eating to keep up with your caloric expenditures. And I mean, and you'll have great cardio. You probably run down the street and run down a robber on the street and not get tired. You have great cardio. You'll just continue to look fat and you won't develop any muscle tone. So to develop some nice looking musculature, you need weight training hard. Cardio you should be doing cardio, cardio endurance. Anyone out there listening, cardio endurance and having good cardio should be one of the things you strive for. You should have really good cardio. It's something you should take with you everywhere you go. It's having that good cardio, and everybody should have it. And weight training, obviously, your strength, your muscle tone, the way you look. So I guess that's it. That's my whole answer on that, Steve.
All right, so next topic we're going to get into, the final topic is I'm using around 150 milligrams a week of Trenbolone. It's making me sick with flu-type side effects. They want to know if you can help them out and give them some advice. Let me see if there's, he says that he feels like it's a rare thing, and they want to know if there's any information on that. So here's the thing with tren is I've talked about this before. If you look at some of the medical research behind Trenbolone, there's an effect that Trenbolone does in the body when it comes to its effects on PGF2A, which is a prostaglandin in the body, and it's an inflammation effect that it does in our bodies where it inflames everything. So what I have researched and what I suspect happens when you run tren, and this I would lay, I bet a lot of money on this, that someone who's on a heavy amount of Trenbolone, let's say over 1,000, over 1,500 milligrams a week of Trenbolone, and they were to die on the Trenbolone, they got a heart attack or something like that, and they actually did an autopsy on that person, they'd go in there and they would notice a lot of their organs would be large, would be inflamed. Their prostates would be inflamed. They would have a lot of inflammatory type of things going on in the body because of that. So if you've ever run tren and you notice things like you have a harder time with cardio, you have a harder time breathing, well, it's because of the inflammation. If your air holes are inflamed, it's kind of like someone who's having like an asthma attack, or not even an asthma attack, but just someone with asthma in general, where your breathing tubes are constricted and it's a lot harder for you to breathe. So that's why one of the reasons you notice when you're on tren that your cardio takes a dive. So in this situation, where he notices that he's sick on tren, I feel like there's a couple different scenarios that could be happening. Number one, when you do a lot of inflammation in the body, obviously that suppresses your immune system. So when you run tren, and this is a situation where, let's say you're running tren, you're in the gym every day, every other day, you're exposed to a lot of different bugs in the gym. Okay. Every time someone touches the bar, they go to the bathroom, they wipe their ass. They wipe their ass at home. They come to the gym. They're touching stuff. They're touching the bars. They're touching the equipment. Then you're touching it, and then it's getting on you. It's getting in your ear. It's getting on your nose. It's getting in your mouth. And that's how these viruses and these bacteria spread so easy. So what happens is you're already at risk being in a gym environment, especially a gym that's dirty, that's not being cleaned, So it's very possible the combination of having a suppressed immune system and being exposed to so many bugs has you feeling these flu-like symptoms, because you have so many different bugs and issues in your body that your immune system is just having to, discharge all these battles. It's got to have all these battles in your body where it has to raise your temperature in the body to fight off these infections that it's getting. So it has to give you a flu-like fever effect, or it gives you that effect. So I feel like that could be what's happening. And it could be also that the gear that you're using is just not reacting well to you. Either it's a dirty brand, the gear is dirty, it's a low quality brand. That happens a lot, especially obviously with these underground labs, these people, they make these steroids in their bathtub. Of course, it's going to be dirty. Or it could be simply the carrier oil is not reacting well to you. It's giving you like an allergic reaction. I've seen situations, I've seen sources use, let's say they're using peanut oil, okay? And you're allergic to peanuts. You may not even know you're allergic to peanuts. Everybody has allergies that we don't even know that we react to, and allergies come and go. I never had an almond allergy, and I started eating almonds a lot, and I developed an almond allergy. Whenever I eat an almond, I start sneezing uncontrollably, So then I stopped eating almonds for like a year, and then I went back to eating almonds, and I didn't have an allergy, you see? So that can kind of trick you, because you may have used this source before, and you didn't have flu-like symptoms. Now you do have flu-like symptoms. So the carrier oil could be having a different effect on your body. So Rick, why don't you give your opinion on this one? I kind of covered several different bases. What do you think on this one?
Yeah, you gave some great information there. 150 megs. If you're doing cardio, you might feel it, because I noticed it doing Thai boxing. When I would mix in Trenbolone, it would definitely take some of my cardio way down. I mean, and it has to do, I think, with inflammation around the lung tissue. It just doesn't, not great. But if you're just doing regular weight training and you're getting like winded, or you're not feeling good from regular weight training, that might be a problem. Also, yeah, compare. Have you used Tren before? Did you have this effect with Tren before? Are what could be causing it now? Did you switch brands? Was it the same brand? Because like Steve said, some of the carriers could make a difference. But yeah, that's about it. I mean, that's all I can really offer on this one. Is if it's cardio training, yeah, it's pretty common. It could happen even at 150 mgs a week. It could still happen. You might need to take it down to 175 mgs a week, see if it goes away. But if it's weight training, you shouldn't be getting winded from just doing some weight training.
All right, so these are 5 great topics. Keep the questions coming for sure, guys. And we will talk to you guys next one, episode 457. Take care.
Have a good one, Steve. Have a good one, Gas.
Guys, this is the required legal disclaimer. We are only sharing our experience from years of steroid use. We are not doctors, and none of what we say should be regarded as medical advice. Always check with your doctor before taking any drugs or starting any training program.